So back to chapter 5 on innovation and its discontents from Sid Harrell's book. Innovation as a concept, she says, is a flawed framework for change, especially in government, when taking risks may be not exactly what you're looking for. So yes, we want an entrepreneurial kind of innovative kind of workforce, but do we actually want to introduce new innovations straight off the bat in civic technology per se? The answer there is to be able to roll out both tried and tested products, processes, and services, and that going for innovation all the time may not necessarily yield the outcomes that government agencies are looking for. And I could give you a great example of the Robo debt scandal here in Australia, the compliance system that was trying to catch people who were providing fraudulent claims to Social Security, and an AI-based initiative using machine learning that really went pear-shaped and ended up sending out some 434,000 letters to Australians saying that they were going through a debt recovery process and that they owed the Australian government anywhere between hundreds of dollars and, as we heard in court cases most recently, up to 30 or 40,000. During this period of time, complicated things came out about the lack of oversight on the development of this new innovation that was touted to bring back and return X number of millions of dollars in expenditure to the government based on fraudulent claims identified. Sid then moves to this notion of bureaucracy and stewardship and claims that in private enterprise, stewardship is not a common idea that has taken root. We know that in government agencies, they're heavily bureaucratic, things take a lot longer, their structures are more hierarchical, and just from an organizational perspective of the type of organization a government agency is, we know that there are levels of hierarchy. But stewardship is something that is special to the public sector. You're there to help citizens in their pursuit of a better living standard and to be able to have the needs that they require met. And there are a whole bunch of perspectives on risks and failures. I've been studying public sector information systems development most recently. And in 2016, there was a study that was performed claiming that only 11% of public sector information systems were actually successful either from the outset or soon after the implementation and operation of the system. 11%. What does that mean for government large-scale systems? And they're highly fraught with potential for failure. What is the solution to this failure, this high incidence, both in the space of big data, AI, and advanced information systems, or more complex information systems, some of which carry various labels? And so what do we do? How do we mitigate that risk? And we do that by better socio-technical design. And you'll see this notion of socio-technical being referred to almost in every module this session, because it is the bringing together of the social subsystem, the technical subsystem, and the environmental subsystem. And it's looking at that intersection there of how we attempt joint optimization, which means that we are coming together both in stakeholders, both in technical capacities, and both in user engagement to hit a sweet spot that says, this is in the best interest. We've gathered the right amount of data. We've done that under the existing norms and practices and rules and laws. And this is the best fit technology that we can align to this project. The role of prototypes is touted by Sid Harrell, and anyone doing 502, co-designing the future, will hit prototypes as an area. And that happens post the proof of concept, where you are trying to actually bring some form into a concept that you've investigated and someone has provided you a budget with. And so the prototypes are there to basically see, as you walk through, whether or not they will be able to satisfy the needs of the clients and other stakeholders you're serving. Finally, digital transformation, this stage we're going through in the notion of continuous improvement. Change is incremental. There is radical change and radical innovation. However, we are looking at better continuous improvement mechanisms, although many governments are still trying to digitize even large maps, even the way they do things. So this digital transformation and social transformation that is happening before us is evident. The Hong Kong ISTAS conference is actually the digital and societal transformation as the main theme. But this notion of continuous improvement, how often do we return to projects to see their viability, to see whether they're working correctly, and what other needs we might require to inject to maintain that level of service and expectation from citizenry. One thing I will say is that citizens are overburdened right now with too many forms of communication and too many expectations, both for private enterprise and public enterprise, and how to reduce that feeling of being overwhelmed is going to be one of the public interest technologists' main missions in the future, is how to simplify these systems, how to ensure that it's easy and intuitive. And so UX developers have never been more important than the current time in terms of at least interfacing with these large-scale systems.